Australia will not send a warship to the Red Sea to protect commercial shipping lanes, formally declining a US request. But Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has vowed not to isolate Australia from the rest of the world. Let's go to our political reporter Cameron Redden in Canberra. Cam, good morning. The Prime Minister gave a speech at the Lowy Institute last night.
He did, Peter. It's one of the final major set-piece events for the Prime Minister of the year on the subject of Australia's place in the world. And he's adamant that while there's a lot happening overseas, Australia won't be shirking from its place in the global stage to contribute to the debate around securing peace in our region, in the Middle East and elsewhere. But that won't extend to the provision of a warship to the Red Sea as part of this US-led task force to secure shipping lanes from attacks by Yemeni Houthi rebels. There are 10 nations involved contributing to that. Australia may yet send personnel, but we won't be sending a warship to the region. And that decision is set to be communicated to the United States, if it hasn't been already, in the past few hours in meetings with Lloyd Austin. We're being represented by the Leader of Defence, Angus Campbell. One thing the Prime Minister is adamant, though, is that even though if we're not contributing in this way, Australia will not be isolating itself from these major decisions. Take a listen to some of the Prime Minister last night.
It's often said that what happens on the world stage matters to Australia. But we are not just observers of the interplay of others' ambitions. And our foreign policy is not just a catalogue of things that happen to us. That's why it matters that we take our seat at the table and have our voice heard in the debate.
The Prime Minister there inside the Sydney Town Hall last night. On the outside and the steps of the Sydney Town Hall, there was another pro-Palestine protest. There have been many of these in Sydney over recent weeks, rallying against the Prime Minister, who's once again reiterated his call for a sustainable ceasefire in Gaza and for the ultimate goal of a lasting two-state solution. Alongside the Prime Minister speaking at the Lowy Institute, of course, the big Lowy Institute lecture this was at the Town Hall last night, was the chairman of the Lowy Institute, Frank Lowy. And in the context of protests going outside and conflict in the Middle East, he was quite upbeat about Australia's position in the world.
Peter and I came up with the idea to create a think tank with the objective of bringing Australia and the world closer together to each other and therefore benefit both Australia and both the world. And I'm pleased to say that we have achieved a great deal. But the job is never finished.
So foreign policy very much the theme of the day, Pete. Later today, the Prime Minister will meet with his New Zealand counterpart, Christopher Luxon, in Sydney. It'll be his first visit overseas since formally taking the top job.
OK, Cameron Redden live from Canberra. Thanks, Cam.